Hello, folks, and welcome back. We're here with a little bit of a change up in cast. There's no longer Lafon and Tugboat. It's going to be Dryad and Sir Waltham sitting here at the desk as we take you into our next match, our fourth of the night, as I count them. It's going to be University of Connecticut versus University of South Alabama. Dryad, how do we feel?
Pretty good. We just had a long series of matches a little bit early on, but we have to see what is going to turn out, especially with these two teams that we're going to start up. At least for us, today is going to be University of Connecticut against University of South Alabama, and both of them. The thing for me is that they have very different scores, so I wonder how that's going to play off in the actual match.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I mentioned, at least we talked a little bit in between the break we had. University of Connecticut currently at a 4-0 scoreline. South Alabama looking at the inverse of that with an 0-4.
Yeah.
And in these types of games, I often call them kind of like checkpoint matches, or I think of them as checkpoint matches where you might not expect South Alabama to come out, necessarily in the most dominant fashion over a team that has such an oppressive scoreline. But still, if you take one or two maps, it gives you a good read of where you're at.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really good way to get a sense of the improvement that we've talked about with the teams and the way that they could have changed a little bit of the composition, what they like to play, if they change their style, any new changes we want to see from the side of University of South Alabama, who haven't gotten a victory yet, so hoping to get that soon. But at least for this fight, it is not going to happen too already down.
Yeah, just like that, South Alabama getting packaged away rather quickly, but looks like they're actually opting into this long-range composition. They're trying to get those early picks, but it's going to be hard.
It is going to be very difficult to happen, and that percentage is going to start building up for this team that likes to play aggressive. We know their style again. 4-0, Connecticut has been able to stay on top, and it seems like we'll continue to do so as the Widow already getting taken down for the next fight.
Yeah, that Cassidy going to be proving to be the superior DPS, at least in this instance. Your boy Wing's going to be taking a nap, but waking up almost immediately. The trigger control just not quite there for South Alabama. Either way, they're having to take the back foot.
A couple more fights though, but look at how aggressive this side of Connecticut is wanting to play here. The Shatter is going to be available. Ideally, you want to hide a little bit if you're your boy Wings and see if you're able to connect that Shatter when no one else is looking. And now, finally, going a little back, playing a little bit more passive, but taking this advantage just to go in.
We saw a huge opportunity there for Wings to combo with that Amplification Matrix. Not going to need it, though. The Fire Strike doesn't hit too much, but it's just going to be the follow-through that comes in. The Soldier, the Cassidy, all coming in to do big damage, and your boy Wings just going to be swinging for the fence.
And being able to just get a couple kills as well. Normal damage, but that is going to be enough. Nels as well getting that pick is going to continue the lane this fight for the side of University of South Alabama, and it does seem like someone disconnect us. Gonna be a pause.
Yeah, it's going to be a
Um,
temporary pause. One of the support players from South Alabama. So maybe they're able to say, well, they've been having disconnect issues. They've been having connectivity issues.
yeah.
That was a little bit of the hitch there for the first part of Ruins. We didn't get to talk about it much. Ilios, of course, our first map. We're already about halfway through it. But South Alabama definitely having to make up some ground. And right now, it just seems like University of Connecticut is being very oppressive and aggressive towards them.
Yeah, just playing so aggressive, and it always comes to the confidence game. Just being able to, dude, you just know that if you push forward and you get that early pick, that's going to delay the next fight, and it continues to happen again and again so far. I mean, we have to see if there's any, maybe it was connectivity issues, maybe it was something else happening for the state of Alabama that was making that happen. But it is, if you're not going together with your team, it's going to be so difficult to win those fights, especially when you don't have the ult advantage.
Yeah, certainly tend to think so. And we've seen it time and time before, Dryad. When you start to suffer those early losses, one team just completely dominates that fight. It gets so difficult to build up
Yeah.
that ultimate advantage. Exponentially more so when we start seeing constant or rapid hero swaps. Not been the case so much with Alabama yet, but that could be very tempting here as they might try to consider what might catch Connecticut off guard. Either way, it's going to be it wasn't the support coming in for Alabama. It was the DPS who we disconnected.
It was the DPS, and it was the soldier who's trying to come back. Sinister does have the nano though, so big opportunity here for them to initiate because there's really nothing else. Giving the nano too tiny, trying to make a little bit of a difference.
Ooh.
The Surf already getting taken down.
And now if you're Sinister, you have to double question whether you want to give that nano boost out. You will inevitably give it out to Teeny, and Samo going to be taken down too. Teeny not able to do enough damage, not able to buy enough space on that main tank role this time around, and will be leading to the objective, falling for Connecticut. And with this now, Ruins neatly packaged up 100 to 0.
And with the disconnection, and also with the what we talked about of them going one by one, it made it a lot. It made it so difficult for them to even build the ultimates that we were talking about. I think the one that I keep an eye on is always the grab. I feel like it can do so much value, especially when your team is also playing a hand. So, and we're playing compositions like that where you're able to combo with the grab, and there's not really opportunity to counter. But unfortunately, that couldn't happen for the side of South Alabama. Looking forward to change things around on the second map here in Ilios, and the compositions as well will be changing a little bit more. Connecticut this time around bringing, even though it's again the soldier is going to be the Ryan Diva they like seeing, it's really the meta, especially here in collegiate.
Absolutely, and a composition we used to see quite a bit coming in from Alabama. It's going to be that double bubble, the Winston and Zarya coming here, but University of Connecticut going to be taking placement on that point initially. Doofus getting a little bit caught out, and he not able to cover them with that bubble, and because of that, it's going to be UConn who knows they have a little bit more of that damage bonus, a little bit more of that damaging potential coming through, and UConn right now just leaning in, getting the cleanup. This guy's almost taking the leap off the cliff.
And the kills that continue to come through for the side of Connecticut. Once again, winning that first fight. Once again, having an advantage in the ultimates that they would potentially be getting first to Leapless. Switching now into the Cassidy, trying to make a difference with that. We saw a couple of the initiations that could have been good if you had a little bit more protections for the tank. So this is exactly what I want to see now on this next fight for University of South Alabama.
They have to be very selective here. We see Trav trying to get in some early boops, but this is a good start for South Alabama. Now maybe they can lead in here, but with the loss of Tinny, that main tank role, it's going to be very difficult. Nanomech, the only one who has any sort of health pool, immediately gets peeled off a point. Lydia's not long to follow.
It's really all about blanketing music for this team, University of Connecticut, because they are so good at those fights. They're so good at initiating, at playing aggressive, at rotating those ultimates. That is why they're 4-0. That is why they haven't lost a single match, and they managed to stay on top on this one as well against University of South Alabama. We're really fighting just to get those ultimates.
One thing I really like about South Alabama is they're not taking too long to get these fights set up. I say that they're hanging around a little bit in the high ground, but it looks like they're taking their time selecting a target and then trying to really go after it. Their execution just leaves a little bit to be desired. Nelsa going to be getting one with the high noon. The Diva now going to be getting D-Mech with just a couple of shots from the left click. Cassidy damage coming through in huge there. Now South Alabama on the retreat. UConn on the chase.
And there's going to be a couple more kills coming in. Like I said, yeah, they are taking those fights and they're making them fast. But the main issue is really deciding who they're going to jump on. When you have a composition like the Winston and the Diva, when you have the dive style, you have to dive into a target, which we really haven't seen so far for University of South Alabama. We saw them jumping into point instead, which is not really going to guarantee the difference that they want to make so far. And Mech already losing the mech as Diva. The opportunity seems like they will be fading away. 2 kills as well. The tactical advisor make it 3 is overtime. It seems like no one else from South Alabama will be able to touch here.
Yeah, South Alabama having such a tough time. Both the supports, the last few remaining. Trev going to be sound barriering themselves off point. Is that the right way to say it? Sound barriering?
Yep, it is now.
Okay, great.
It is now.
Trav going to be doing that off the side of a cliff. Connecticut already feeling their oats, already feeling like they're going to have this thing packaged up nice and neat. But that was only the first, and that was the control. Of course, we talked about it. Control being a little bit different than the rest of the map types we see.
And the thing for me is that we probably still a couple, but I don't really remember any kills happening effectively for the South University of South Alabama. So that is a concern that I had, and it comes back again to the way they initiate those fights. You are trying to push together. We saw it just now. They were all trying to push together. They were trying to make those fights and that reset to happen as soon as possible. But instead of jumping into possibly the backline of the enemy team, they were jumping right into point, which again might be a reason why Control might not favor them too much. So hopefully things are going to change on our next map.
Yeah, and of course that next map is going to be of the hybrid map type. It is going to be Blizzard World. A nice map. I feel like it provides at least a nice visual variance coming through from some of the other maps we might have. But overall, if we saw the double bubble being a little bit favored from South Alabama, or at least being an option that they are aware of, when I think of Blizzard World, I think that maybe they have a little bit more of a solid chance here, especially during that second phase, that second streets phase, as it's often called in most escort and hybrid maps. That pylon area is just so powerful if they're able to get the Winston communicating with the Zarya and get up there.
Yeah, though the only question that I would have if they want to bring this composition is how comfortable do the players feel playing the Winston, playing the Saria as well? Because we saw Saria on that first map, and they couldn't even build the grabs, which is a massive win condition. Ideally, they were able to do a little bit better, especially in their if they're starting on the defense and just be able to rotate to combine it with the Hansel Ultimate as well with those dragons coming through as well. That is going to give the University of South Alabama a little bit more of those opportunities that they're looking forward to. But it's going to be actually Connecticut the one starting on the defense.
We get a nice little view of those popsicles. A Cho'Gall
Yep.
popsicle, that sounds pretty good. I don't. Is that a blueberry pie? Is that like a? I'm not.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that's about. I don't even know if that's lore friendly. I think that's just a failed art design of some carnival food.
It's nice. It's something, you know?
It looks nice. It just looks like it'd be a pain to eat. Either way, speaking of eating, we'll see if South Alabama continues to be a feast for Connecticut. Coming out here with a rather fast composition. It's not going to be the double bubble. It's going to be a little bit more traditional dive. That Sombra is going to be in
Yeah.
as well. It doesn't look like it's just for scouting, though.
South Alabama, though, with the Sombra, again, it's just a matter of are they able to build the ultimates for this map? Because we didn't really see it before. Sleeveless already getting taken down, and I mentioned this a couple times. One of the worst things that can happen is for your Sombra to continue getting taken down. You lose a Sombra, you lose the possibility to build an EMP soon, which is definitely going to be the case. And just like that, one by one, the University of Connecticut will be taking care of the side of South Alabama, who again are having difficulty. Only 14%. The Sombra's back, trying to get a couple hacks, but you need to have that connection and that communication with the rest of your team to ensure that the hacks are going to be worth it.
Yeah, I typically tend to agree. Sleepless just getting caught out way too early there. Traveling with Alinea might help to alleviate that, allowing for the damage to come through simultaneously, but it'll immediately Alinea blinking perhaps a bit too early, not able to get that damage in, doesn't want to risk exposing their Sombra. Instead, just going to work on capping point, and looks like University of Connecticut is going to be sending one person down there to deal with that immediate threat. And right now, we're not seeing any progress being made. South Alabama not taking advantage of the pressure or the point progress there. Instead, Connecticut going to be rotating entirely onto point, able to get these kills. High Noon available for Nelsa. They're going to be throwing it in, trying to focus the Primal down. Both shots, one for the Moira, one for the Winston, going into the Winston. And just like that, it looks like things are going to be going Connecticut's way. They might even have some time to reposition back up onto that high.
And it's already looking a lot better, really, for South Alabama. They were able to get one tick off the point, 38.9%. And on top of that, they're able to use and rotate a couple ultimates a little more effectively. I didn't even know you can stand there. What? Okay. It's a thing?
Apparently you can just stand on the little posts right there. But I agree with you, Dryad. Things are looking better statistically for South Alabama, but I'm still not sure we've seen any kills go in their favor, and that's what's really going to matter. Sound barrier goes down. Nelsa able to take down one. That Winston going to be taken down before the sound barrier hits. And DMEC for Connecticut. Your boy Wings actually gets hacked during the Earth Shatter. That is brutal. Forced to rotate out of position as well because that hack prevents them from shielding up during the self-destruct. It's going to be getting them the second tick, but South Alabama used a lot of resources to not get as much value as they'd like.
Fight by fight, we see more and more control for the University of South Alabama. Another tick going under favor, and they also have the coalescence to initiate next fight. Like you said, yeah, the hack didn't really allow the Reinhardt to connect the shadow the way that they wanted to, but with the aggression, with the damage that this hero is able to put in, that was enough to guarantee that fight. They lost the high ground though. They lost the high ground positioning that they had before, but they still gain a lot of ultimates. They can even use the dragons to create space into point.
And your boy Wing's going to start off by getting hacked big early on. Nelsa going for the High Noon, but not going to be finding anything. Tiz instead finding two. This might be the look that South Alabama needed, but no, not quite. They're going to not be able to withstand, especially from that big bomb from Tiz, guys.
A really good job once again, University of Connecticut able to stay on top of the game, and you can look at the damage that yeah boy Wings is able to put in every single time. Once again, having that shatter, building a shatter in every single fight, and that is just enough for what could be the last fight. 15 seconds remaining, no EMP, not many of the ultimates that South Alabama wants to have.
Gonna be the Earth Shatter that goes out, lands onto two Sleepless Seraphal, both taken out of this fight. Alinea not able to get anything with that Pulse Bomb, goes a little bit wide. UConn just gonna be cleaning up on the point, and South Alabama's just gonna have to be happy with that percentage at 81.3.
So we're not going to see a draw, and that is something good to see, but nonetheless, for South Alabama, it is just not a good scenario. It's going to be essentially always holding that point, even if you're taking the high ground positioning, just for that initial damage that might come through from it, from that poke phase. It is risky. It is a risky decision to take. It can get taken down, and that is going to be the end of it. Two ticks and a little bit more means a single fight is going to be enough for Connecticut to be able to stay on top. So it's just a matter of how good the attacking side can be.
And what I'm looking forward to is seeing if Connecticut employs some of these same strategies, whether they, send one person onto point and try to let South Alabama suffer to cope with that, or if they are just going to be looking to take the fight immediately, go in, hit them in the face, and then see how they respond once the kills come through for either side.
Yeah, that is a question that I have as well. So it's just a couple of those details that can make a difference, and I really think that University of South Alabama they did a really good job with the distraction they were able to create. It was the Tracer and the Sombra, and the entire team was looking this UDPS, putting the damage and putting that pressure in the high ground, and that is how this team of South Alabama was able to get one tick, then another. But there's only so much that you can do. But look at this composition though. Double shield and a lot of poke damage that will be coming through for this defense.
Curiously enough, South Alabama kind of putting all their eggs in one basket with that Torbjorn turret just going to be located in the same area that all the heroes are, meaning that Connecticut just has to look down one angle, down one barrel. However, still going to be difficult to push up into the barrel of this gun. It's going to be the turrets slowly chipping away at some of the health of South Alabama, but they're going to use that immortality field rather early on and eventually backing out, trying to get onto point and just prevent any more presence from being taken. A big kinetic grasp coming in from Nanomech, eating a lot of that damage, but South Alabama starting to have their health pools worn away. This guy going to be coming in with a big 2 kills, and just like that, with the Reaper able to get nestled onto point, Connecticut suddenly going to be looking in a lot more favorable of a position, able to clean up that Reaper. So lethal in those close ranges, you can't let that happen.
A single fight, and that was enough. Pascal was also able to build that amplification, but wasn't even needed towards the end. Connecticut was able to win the second map, and it's already match point.
Yeah, things going to be looking very good for Connecticut and pretty grim for South Alabama if you're on the other side of the table. As we look here at a quick play of the game, your boy Wings just continuing to swing ahead. Your boy Wings has been enabled, it feels like, for a lot of these matches.
There's so much that he can do. I mean, he's being able to put the protection for the team, but the team is also protecting this Reinhardt, which is so difficult to do, knowing that you don't have the strongest heroes that are going to be playing with the USM Reinhardt, but it really seems like it's enough. Yeah, boy Wanks is being able to stay on top of the game again. Like I said, building that shatter after every single fight and making a difference for the team. I also love the composition that we saw towards the end. They knew they had to go in, touch the point, get one kill, and that was going to be the opening. That is exactly what they did.
Yeah, and to be fair, it looks like South Alabama held their ground for a moment, but in these fights, unfortunately, it's more than just a moment, especially on the defense. It is just a series of moments, and you have to keep winning those fights continually, even going down one. It's hard to recover from with the walk back from spawn on that defensive edge. However, South Alabama not quite out of it just yet. We are going to be looking towards our next map here in just a little bit. It is going to be Volskaya, but folks, I do believe we're going to be taking a short, quick little break. So quick, in fact, that we're actually already going to be loading into game. Hope you
Oh, what a
enjoyed your
quick
break. Yeah, I hope everybody at home grabs some water, grab some snacks, because it's going to be getting a little bit chilly as we head towards Volskaya.
Yeah, Volskaya for what could potentially be our last map. And we talk about the stakes coming into this match. Connecticut 4-0, South Alabama 0-4. Completely opposite scores between these two teams. And the opportunity for that redemption arc that we might be seeing from South Alabama is definitely there. It's still looking difficult. It's still looking difficult to make that comeback. It's going to be a reset on the mentality, and on top of that, just figuring out, because we've seen a couple of different options for this team, but nothing really seems to be just right. They're missing ultimates, they're not using them at the same time. Early picks where they get taken down. So hopefully there's a good opportunity to start off a reverse sweep potentially coming for South Alabama.
You gotta hope so. South Alabama certainly going to be clinging to that breath of a life here. They're going to start off on the attack, and they're going to be rolling in with, again, another fast composition, at least as far as the tanks line is concerned. It's going to be the Wrecking Ball and Diva to start. It's going to be the Cassidy and the Hanzo as well. And the trouble I'm seeing is that I think South Alabama's going to have trouble getting through this main primary entry point. We already see a big anti-nade coming in. That's going to be one of the weaknesses you see here. No shield to prevent that. Samo going to be going in with the Doomfist, forcing out that Immortality field already, and then getting 2 kills on top of it. Able to back up behind the safety of their tank, get a little bit of healing. Eats an anti-nade, but not going to mind as they uppercut the jaw of the Ana player.
Every time I see a doofus on a map that's for the match fund with a 2-0, I just have to worry because there's so much that you can do. We just saw it there when you have the confidence and when you have that killing. I mean, we saw this doofus go so low for the side of Connecticut, being able to make that comeback. And look at that, they're even celebrating.
Oh, no. They're not just celebrating, Dryad. If I'm reading this right, they're celebrating pretty close towards the spawn. Yeah, we might see Pascal just go in for a sleep dart off the back end once everybody's fully committed here. We already see this on the Cassidy, trying to go for it, trying to duel out, and then with that, your boy Wing's gonna be coming in with some quick cleanup. Pascal really having the coordination with their team. We've seen this player pay off in droves already.
There's just so much synergy. I mean, even having your Ana in a position like that, it can get taken down so fast, but look at that Pascal, even able to get a couple kills towards the end, going to guarantee the fight, going for the side of University of Connecticut and cleaning it up to the point where anything that South Alabama wants to do is going to be delayed. It's going to be a delayed fight when they're going to have less than half the time remaining, about 2 minutes by the time they're all ready to go back in. And all they have is ultimates that are good to create space, but not really to get the kills.
And with Timmy going down, it's another big anti-nade, and Samo looks to dive in, but I mean, the fight's pretty much already over. They get a Baptiste as a consolation prize, but the rest of the team's already done most of the work.
The reaction time is just so good. Every single scenario that we've seen for this team, the anti-nades connecting just in time. Look at that. Every single ultimate they could need, South Alabama now will be having. The question is, can they use it when they need to?
And aside from just the excellent teamwork and mechanics we're seeing out of Connecticut, the game understanding coming through here. We saw that pile driver try to come in from Tinny. Immediately the deep response knocks them off the high ground so they can't get it. And now the kills coming out, self-destruct being forced. Samo has to use that meteor strike to get out, but this guy's getting 2 on the remake.
Okay.
I've seen some crazy remake kills, but I don't think yet in this tournament I've seen 2 remake kills from the same.
It is really the first time. And on top of that is both of the support, so it's just a complete nightmare. Nothing else can be done for South Alabama. That's the question that I had. We had 5 ultimates, almost 6. What do you do with them? And so far, the answer has been almost nothing, really. Everyone getting taken down. This could be a good initiation, but the Tracer, not the best pick they can get towards the beginning, can get back really fast. Going to depend on the tanks to get the job done.
But Pascal, perhaps a better kill. It's going to be the immediate follow-up coming in from the rest of Connecticut, though. Lots of damage, particularly your boy Wings, able to just shred with that massive cleave damage, taking down both the tanks in eventuality.
A couple more will be coming through, and this is so dominant for the side of Connecticut. They've been able to stay on top every single time. 15 seconds remaining. Not much that you can do to your South Alabama. No really ultimates are going to allow you to get in point just fast enough. Just hoping to get the kills. Hoping for a miracle, really.
And at the very least, somebody from South Alabama has to touch, and it's not going to be Sinister. They get sent to the graveyard asleep onto the Winston, diving in. Roadhog not able to get anything. Sleepless on the Casty, able to get just one, but it might be enough to at least get some sort of point progress, although Tinny looking very low on health. So is that Roadhog Nanomech taken out of the fight. Nobody left, and Lydia gonna get one as a consolation prize, but overtime's gonna tick down 0%.
Now it's just melting the HP of everyone with this Tracer. It was so good every single time. You had the Doomfist using those abilities effectively, using the timing properly, getting that peeling, and then the Tracer also melting the HP of the tanks. That is all that you can ask for the defense of University of Connecticut, who's able to stay on top of the game. Now South Alabama has a very difficult task coming next.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree. And not to be pessimistic, Dryad, but it's a very difficult task that will still only get them the draw. Even if they hold off perfectly, they don't walk away with anything. They don't walk away with a point in their pocket. It's still just, you have to do one more, but better this time.
Just better to have the potential going to the next map, knowing that this is already match point, knowing that the opportunities slowly fade away the more you go, the more you play. But now University of Connecticut, the question is what they're going to bring and how aggressive they want to be for what could be a single fight. Like we saw in Blizzard World, a single fight was all it took for them to win, to get the kills, and to win that map. We're in the same scenario now.
I think you kind of answered your own question there. Just like on Blizzard World, Connecticut might have the read that they could just get aggressive with South Alabama, and South Alabama are going to be looking a little weak in the knees, start to step away from that perhaps, but it's going to be the Bastion coming out now, and instead of going directly to point, we're going to be seeing the wraparound here. And this is going to be very detrimental for South Alabama, especially if Connecticut can get nestled up onto this high ground, allow for another teleporter. I already see Samo getting some sentries set up to prevent any flanks, and Sleepless immediately torn down. The tanks have to try to respond, but nobody's going to be able to. It's already taking some possession of point is Connecticut, and I see your boy Wings just standing there casually, not worried too much. Just hanging out, doing a little bit of taunting.
They can't even touch anymore. It's going to be the 3-0 coming through. South Alabama, they tried towards the end, but they got taken down so fast, especially with the Bastion putting the pressure right from the high ground. No opportunity to hide in University of Connecticut. They were just so good on this map.
Yeah, they certainly were. And I mean, a lot of it came down to just some excellent play from all of the members, but it just goes to show you, right? You can be extremely confident. You can even make some what other people would call overly aggressive plays if the communications are there. I mean, we saw it happen with Pasco once. Of all the people to send into the front line to kind of put behind the enemy team, waiting for them to go into the choke point. The Ana's probably not the most ideal one you want to do it with. Usually you might like something like a Tracer or a Sombra. No, they don't care. Connecticut doesn't care. They're going to still send Pascal your way, and you'll be slept and then antied, or I guess more accurately antied and then slept, and then you're just going to get cleaned up.
And yeah, like you said, having the Anna on a positioning that is not going to be beneficial, especially if you lose so much healing if she gets taken down, is so risky. But it really just shows the confidence, because you don't do that for any team that you're facing. You do it when you have the confidence that you're able to win that match, and when you know that you have, for example, a D.Va being able to go right back if the Anna gets in trouble, just to get the kill, just to get any sort of extra support. So that's why we saw an amazing communication for the side of Connecticut that allowed them to win this match.
And speaking of some communication coming in from Connecticut, we will be having a brief interview with one of the players after this break. So make sure you stick around, folks. We're not quite done with Connecticut versus South Alabama. Hello, folks, and we are back. And as you can see to the right of your screens, we are sitting here in the interview booth with ya boy Wings. Wings, hello, welcome, congratulations. A rather quick game, not much to really break down there in terms of just how fast it went.
Yeah.
All right, all right. So I know we saw you playing that main tank role here a little bit, and I mean a little bit because again, where it was like a 50-minute game or something like that for 3 maps. But was there much consideration against this composition or against this opponent in Alabama, where you were necessarily trying to run a more rigid comp, or were you guys being a little bit more experimental because of the perceived strength of your opponents?
We kind of just stuck to our game plan. We didn't really go out of our way to change anything or try to do much besides, just stick to what we ran on because we played every one of those maps, I think, besides Blizzard. Or we already played Blizzard World, actually, I think. We just ran the same thing that we ran every other week.
Okay.
Yeah, and you guys are able to make it work. When it comes to the composition, actually, that we saw in Blizzard World, you guys lost two of the ticks, because you were holding the high ground positioning, and the team just decided to go in. Is that something that you prepare for? Because we definitely saw the Symmetra coming towards the end, just to make sure that the teleporter is going to be connected. But is that something that you usually have, that Symmetra coming in?
I mean, Symmetra, they had a Symmetra, but with the whole point thing, it's like, at the end of the day, point percentage and stuff's a resource. Like, you can consider it a resource. So if you give up ticks, you give up ticks. As long as you don't give up the entire point.
Yeah, and it really comes to the confidence. I do have one more question for you, and it comes to that as well. You're now 5-0, have been able to stay on top of the game. You have been able to win all those matches. But looking at the future and just knowing that it is going to get a lot more difficult as you face other teams. Is there any sort of extra preparation that you feel is needed for the weeks to come?
I mean, we want to face tougher teams. Like, it's not like we're like, we beat a lot of teams pretty quickly. I think our last 4 games, someone can fact check me on this eventually, have been combined shorter than our William and Mary game. Like, we wanna compete with really good teams, and we're just gonna keep improving, and whoever's in front of us, we just have to play.
Well, I'm sure that we're going to be seeing a lot more dominance coming through from Connecticut based off of the just the performance we saw you folks put here today. Your boy Wings, once again, thank you for coming in here, answering a few of our questions. Before we let you go, though, as usual, as I'm sure you're familiar with, do you want to give you the opportunity for any shout outs?
Shout out Jamie's grandma, because she said she was gonna watch this game with her grandma. So
Nice. Nice.
Very nice. Kind there, Wings. But once again, thanks for hanging out, answering a few of our questions. And once again, congratulations on the fast victory.
thank you.
And with that, Dryad, we are about ready to wrap up University of Connecticut versus University of South Alabama. However, folks, we are not done. We will be back in just a little bit with another exciting match of Overwatch, so make sure you stick around.